So Halloween is just around the corner. So I guess I'm going to give y'all my favorite top 10 horror movies, even though most of the time I'm watching it like this. Ah! But I do have my favorites. So Dracula, The Mummy, Frankenstein, none of these films make my top 10, even though I love those films. The Wolfman, Werewolf, I love all that stuff. All the Universal monsters, I love those. But these are films that came out within the last 50 years or so. So honorable mention, Train to Busan. Never seen the film. AMC got this great series called the 101 Scariest Movies of All Time. And I saw Train to Busan. It's an Asian film. Asian horror, fast-moving zombies, and a father and a daughter on a train. You hope for the best. But it looks great. It looks great, and that's a film that I want to see, but I've never seen, so I'll put it as an honorable mention. Number 10, Paranormal Activity. The first film from Blumhouse, fantastic, made under $1 million. If you're a director, you could, most of these great films that are classics were made very cheaply. Night Living Dead, Halloween, very cheaply. And it sticks with you because they play with your mind. The Paranormal Activity plays with your mind. I knew that the ending creeped me out. I haven't seen it in a long time because it came out in 2007. I didn't see it until 2015. Sorry. So I said, man, I know the ending creeped me out. So I went on YouTube and watched the ending like right before I made this. And I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. It's like, it's so good. Because they use a lot of, it plays with your mind, man. A lot of noise, a lot of sounds. And then you're like, oh, so good. The lead actress in that film is so good. She popped up in the other ones too. It's like, oh, Paranormal Activity is really good. I kicked myself for not seeing that film back when it came out. All right, number 9, Black Christmas, directed by Bob Clark. The precursor to Halloween. It gives you the point of view of the killer, which you didn't see before. You'll see that later in Halloween and Friday the 13th and all the rest of these slasher films. There will be no Halloween. This will be no John Carpenter Halloween if it wasn't for Black Christmas, directed by Bob Clark. Marco Kidder was in it, and it's another one that has a shocking ending. Not really a jump scare. You're just sitting there and you go, it's great. It's great. It's a cult classic. And the same director, Bob Clark, he would make another Christmas classic, A Christmas Story. So he went very dark in the beginning, in 1974, I think, with Black Christmas. And then in the early 80s, he came back around and made one of the most beloved Christmas movies ever, in A Christmas Story. Shout out to Cleveland, Ohio. So I got that at number 9. Number 8, Get Out. Jordan Peele. Listen, I love Jordan Peele. I love Jordan Peele since Mad TV. Wasn't a big Key & Peele guy, but I appreciated it more as the years went on. Get Out was a masterpiece, but he hasn't done that since. Like Us was good. I'll never watch that again. It wasn't a bad movie. That little girl in that movie just creeped me out. And Nope was kind of like, I get it, but it's not like Get Out. Like Get Out gave you everything. They gave you race stuff, class stuff, interracial dating stuff, maybe harvesting of organs. Lakeith Stanfield, who was on Atlanta at the time, I can't imagine him not being in that film. His role in Get Out is like Drew Barrymore's in Scream. It is fantastic. You almost like, brother, no, watch out. And Jordan Peele did one of the great. If Jordan Peele doesn't make another great movie again, he has created one of the most cinematic scenes ever with The Sunken Place, where Daniel Kaluuya with the tea cup and the stirring and sleep, and then he's floating in that darkness, trying to reach out, trying to get back out. Oh my God. Like, I know there's like behind the scenes how they shot it. I didn't want to watch it. I just want my mind to believe that he's in the sunken place and he can't get out. It was so good. And I remember like during that point, like for black folks, if some black person was doing something questionable, it's like, oh, he in the sucking place, ain't he? It became a whole thing. I think Get Out came out the same year as Black Panther, maybe. That was a good year. That was probably the last great year of black cinema, if that's true. I don't think we had number 2 films that's been that good since then, with Get Out and Black Panther, if they both came out the same year, I think. Okay, that was number 8. Number 7, Kurt Russell, The Thing, directed by John Carpenter. In the 80s, we always talk about the action heroes like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, Seagal, Bruce Willis. We always forget about Kurt Russell. He was first, like him and Chuck Norris, but Kurt Russell was first. Escape from New York, Escape from LA, Big Trouble in Little China, and most importantly, The Thing. Fantastic. They're in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, it was in Alaska or the North Pole. Ain't nobody around, and there's an alien organism taking dudes out. And it's great because you don't know who to trust. It's like, nah, man, you can trust me. Nah. I got this flamethrower on you. I don't trust you. And that whole scene with the dog is still, it's disgusting. But it's so good. Remake is a remake from the 1950s. Kurt Russell deserves an honorary Oscar. Like, Kurt Russell has done so many great movies. I don't think he gets the love he deserves. But The Thing with John Carpenter, fantastic. That's number 7. Number 6, Alien. The tagline alone, in space, they can never hear you scream. The first time we see Sigourney Weaver, directed by Ridley Scott. And it's just, and The Thing kind of followed that blueprint. The horror is in space. What do you do if you're trapped on a spaceship with something that's killing everybody? Where can you go? At least with Friday the 13th, you can try to run in the woods, but somehow, some way, Jason Voorhees can still catch you. But if you're stuck on a spaceship, where can you go? Especially if you don't know who is what. And the scene, because of Sigourney Weaver, Yaphet Kotto, great scene, but got my man on the table before the thing burst out of him. They had no clue that scene was coming. They knew, the actors knew that something was going to happen in that scene. Said, hey, Ridley Scott said, be prepared, something's going to happen. So, okay, fine. They were not prepared when that thing burst out of the chest like this and looked around and then scurried off. That reactions that you see in that film, that was real, because they did not expect that. Oh, it's so good. Sometimes we got all the CGI, and the CGI is fine, but man, old school special effects is the best. And Sigourney Weaver, if that was the only film she ever did, that would have been great. But she did that. She came back for Aliens. She was in Ghostbusters, Working Girl, Gorillas in the Mist. Yeah, Sigourney, Avatar. Yeah, Sigourney Weaver. She's that chick. And Ridley Scott. If Ridley Scott's a fantastic director, but if all he did was Alien and Gladiator, that's a career. That's right. The same dude that did Alien did Gladiator. If that's the only 2 films he ever made in his life, he's a legend. But he has a rich history. So shout out to Ridley Scott. Number 5, Carrie. There are certain actors, like Tobey Maguire, when you first see him as Peter Parker in Spider-Man, you say, that's Peter Parker. Same thing with Sissy Spacek as Carrie. When you see her, you just felt so sorry. You actually believed that these mean girls were giving her the blues. It's like, man. And usually for kids like that, because she came from her mom was completely messed up. And usually when that happens, you at least get a safe space at home. There was no safe space at school. She had a crazy ass mama. And then finally comes the prom and the whole Sally Field thing. Oh, you like me, you really like me. And then the blood thing happened. John Travolta was in it. Nancy Allen. And Nancy Allen would end up marrying the director of the film, Brian De Palma, for a few years. I think they got divorced after she was in RoboCop. And Amy Irving, the beautiful Amy Irving. And the funny thing about that movie was that Spielberg, before Carrie was made, Spielberg was casting for Star Wars, but De Palma was casting for Carrie, and it was in the same studio. So they was looking at all of them. Lucas and De Palma was in the same space casting for Star Wars and Carrie. And Spielberg was cool with both of them, because it's a whole book about how cool all these young directors were cool with each other. And I guess Spielberg might have been hanging out, and he saw Amy Irving. It's like, oh. And they dated, and they broke up, and then they got married, and then she took half his money. she took $100 million in their divorce, and they had a kid. Of course, he's like a multi-billionaire now, but I get it, man. Amy Irving was nice. And my mom, she always talked about the end scene in Carrie. The ending scene in Carrie is just almost like, oh my, it's so like, oh no. Might be, the ending of Carrie might be the scariest of the horror films, to be honest, because you didn't see that coming. So yeah, so shout out to Sissy Spacek. She could have won an Oscar for that role. She was, from the Stephen King book, she was that good. That's what I hate when they do the remakes, because the way they cast the young ladies to play Carrie, you could be a really chapter girl and be bullied in school. But it's just when you see Sissy Spacek, you just believed that her life was hell. and she was going to pay everybody back. Yeah, she did. She went a little bit overboard. But she's like, nah, I'm taking all y'all. I'm tired of all y'all. All right, number 4, Scream. If Scream, after the first 15 minutes, was a horrible movie, that would have been fine. Because the first 15 minutes was the first 10, 15 minutes of that film was one of the greatest beginnings of a film ever. Drew Barrymore, who was front and center in all the promotions, started off that film. You did not foresee that intro. You just saw, like, oh, there's Drew. And my Ghostface is saying, well, what's your favorite scary movie? And it's like, oh, this is fun, and the popcorn and all that stuff. And then she's talking to Ghostface after he chased her around, and then her parents come home and they can hear her on the phone. And then the shot and the zoom the shot at the tree with the zoom is like, oh no, oh, and that's how the film starts. And you got Neve Campbell, because Neve Campbell is on Party of Five. We get introduced to Skeet Ulrich for the first time. You see Matthew Litter for the first time. We see Jamie Kennedy, because he was telling you the rules of this thing. And then most importantly, Rose McGowan. I was like, man, I love Drew and I love Neve, but who's that? Rose McGowan was so nice. And she did that, and then after that she did Jawbreakers. Yeah, Rose McGowan was nice. But the whole script was nice. The whole turning of the whole genre, the slasher genre, on its ear and exposing things like this, the rules of the game. Still got 2 of my favorite lines ever, like, what's your favorite scary movie? And then Matthew Lillard saying, like, I feel a bit woozy, man. Oh, legend. Oh, Scream is so good. Number 3, The Exorcist. I don't know how William Friedkin even directed that film. Old school special effects, no CGI. Linda Blair was 14 years old, have her saying the most disgusting things to her mother. The makeup was just insane, with her head turning around, puking up all that stuff. Her floating in the bed. I think the film came out in 1973. I still don't know how they did that stuff. The special effects was so good in that. Oh my God. And then I can't imagine when it first came out, because I was reading like old reports how people were fainting. People were picketing because they said it was demonic. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know if my parents saw that. Cause I don't think my dad would have saw that. I think my mom would have tried. I can't imagine when that film came out, the anarchy. But the direction is fantastic. Linda Blair is fantastic. She could have won an Oscar for that. And then years later, Linda Blair ends up dating Rick James. In the 80s, she dated Rick James. Between 82 and 84, she got pregnant, and then she terminated the pregnancy. She didn't tell him, and then she told him after the fact. And if you're a Rick James song, the film Cold Blooded that he made, that was about her. Oh man, Cold Blooded. Oh my God. If only thing that Linda Blair has, which is kind of true, is that she was in The Exorcist and dated Rick James. That's a career. Oh my God. Oh, The Exorcist is just, it doesn't matter. They've had different Exorcist films, and they got The Conjuring. The Conjuring is a great series, but nothing beats The Exorcist. Number 2, Night of the Living Dead. I think my man Dwayne Jones, the black lead in that film. I think they said people thought it was actually a documentary because it was in black and white, and it looked real, because in the beginning you got a brother and sister in the cemetery, and then things just falls apart. And in the house of, they go, everybody's in the house. You got the scene with the mother and daughter in the basement. That's messed up. Georgia Romero. People just never seen anything like that before. It's great. I like the fact they had a black hero, but it was made in the early 60s, and it was so smart of what Georgia Romero did, because it almost feels like a Twilight Zone episode. The ending is almost like, I have to think, like I say, Carrie was the most shocking ending. I have to say Night of the Living Dead is the most shocking ending. But it's true for the times. And the scary thing about that ending is, if they did Night of the Living Dead as is today, shoot it frame by frame exactly the same, almost the same type of casting, the ending would probably be the same. That's the scary thing. That was in the early 60s, and you really understood that ending back then. the scary thing, we're in 2025, and if the same thing happened again, shot frame by frame, the ending would be the same. Going back to Get Out for a second, Get Out, I think, originally had that type of ending, but Jordan Peele changed it. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. But if he would have gone with his original idea, it would have made sense too, given the climate. So yeah, Night of the Living Dead is, and I think Dwayne Jones, the actor, he was like a theatrical guy too. So rest in peace, sir. You did a magnificent job, because we don't have too many black heroes in horror movies still in 2025. And number one, Halloween. John Carpenter. John Carpenter took his cues from Bob Clark from Black Christmas. I think he worked with Bob Clark a little bit back when he was a struggling director. It's very Hitchcockian in a lot of ways, because we see a lot of action in the beginning with Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers, but then after that, it's straight story development. It's straight story development. And then once the killings start, it just keeps moving. It keeps moving. It's fantastic. It's unrelenting. But it's not like Friday the 13th. Like by the time we get to like Friday the 13th, they just killing people just to kill people, right? But it's the murders that happen in Halloween. It still never made sense, but it wasn't like he was just killing just to kill a bunch of people. Like, Laurie Strode was the virginal chick in the film, and then she had her other friends. One was played by PJ Souls, who would later be in Stripes. So when all her friends are out carousing, she's home babysitting, and Mike Myers said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to take y'all out." Oh my God, my man, when he had the sheet on, yeah, he had the sheet on with the glasses, just standing there like this. And she talking to him, "Well, come on to bed, big boy." He was like standing, oh. And then Michael Myers raises up later on, and that's where the Undertaker took his thing up from WWE when he rose up. Oh my God. And Halloween was co-written with John Carpenter and his then girlfriend Deborah Hill, who become a producer. It's great, man. It's a great film. Now, I have Halloween at number one, but to be honest, I could have had Scream at number one. I could have put Night of the Living Dead at number one. I could have put Carrie at number one. Like, to be honest, I don't think there's any really a number one horror movie of all time, because you can change every day because there's so many good ones. So you guys tell me, what is your top 5 or top 10 favorite horror films? I know I left a bunch out, but what about these films? Do you like these films on my list? Are there a bunch of others you don't like? Are there some that you just like? Because I don't get the real gory stuff. Like, that kind of really creeped me out. But maybe you like the real gory stuff. I don't know. I don't have Saw on here. Saw's great. I have Saw. I don't have any Friday the 13th. I forgot Nightmare on Elm Street. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I probably would have had it in my top 10, but there's so many good horror films. I probably would have had Freddy Krueger. Just the first time we see Johnny Depp, so good. Was it Heather Langenkamp, I think, her name? Always liked her, with a gray streak in her hair. I thought she was going to be a star. I thought actually she would be the next Jamie Lee, but it didn't work out that way. So what do you guys think? What is your favorite horror films of all time?